What's up, Dice Crew? Now look, we got Alonso, Munchie B, and Spider Loc speaking on the Blacc Sam interview. Cause I stumbled across this video and the title reads, "Why would Blacc Sam say someone sent Eric to shoot Nipsey when the case is over?" with a question mark. So I felt like that definitely sounded kind of interesting to me. So I want to tune in. So I'm gonna react and keep it a Benji for y'all. Y'all keep it a Benji for me in the comments. Shout out to the Dice Crew. Let's rock.
Now, Blacc Sam recently gave an incredible interview to Big Boy, and about an hour into it, Big Boy asked him about what happened to Nip in that parking lot.
I just realized Nippy is gone. How long he been gone?
Yeah,
5 years. No, I'm from this wall.
Now, you know, Spider Loc said it was a picture of Nipsey Hussle on that wall, and I guess it got removed. I don't know what the reason was. Y'all let me know why y'all think that Nipsey Hussle picture ain't on the wall no more. But let's continue.
My bad.
The interview that Big Boy and Blacc Sam did, it kind of reignited a lot of the conspiracy theorists that kind of went away after Eric Holder was found guilty back in 2022.
Now, I just want to like pretty much break that down right there, right? What Alonso just said, because we had dropped a video pertaining to Spider Loc doing an interview, pretty much saying like, you know, certain things he wouldn't have said pertaining to the Blacc Sam interview, or I should say some of the things Blacc Sam said during his interview. You know, I agreed too. It's other individuals who agreed to it too, but that small part right there, what Alonso said pertaining to, you know, pretty much adding back on to this whole theory and conspiracy. And that's, if you get it, it's hard to explain to you if you don't get it, I guess. But that's probably why most people are saying, like, you know, you pretty much, like, when you got so much of a conspiracy theory thing going on pertaining to a certain individual or other individuals, however you word it, and you pretty much come out here with a piece of material that adds on, you know what I mean, to that type of theory or whatever the case may be, then it just can be viewed very tricky, you know what I mean? Especially like a lot of people jumped in them comments and kept saying that Blacc Sam was a civilian and stuff like that, and y'all got to know the difference, man. A civilian is a person that just follow the guidelines, and you know, they don't participate with no street activity at all. Y'all got to know the difference from a person that's just like not from a gang as a person, as opposed to a person that's a civilian. It's a big difference. Just because you're not from a gang, that don't make you a civilian. You know, Blacc Sam, you know, he going to jail, he running fades, he asking for fades, you know, he running around here, you know, he said he up there with a gun out of his own mouth. He said that on the Big Boy interview, that he be up there with a gun and stuff like that. Like, that's a person that's operating in the outlaw aspect. You know, that's being a street individual. That's not being a civilian. You know what I mean? Being a civilian would have mean that Blacc Sam would have had an armor guard, or he would have had a legal gun. But at the end of the day, you know, I don't think he was up there with a illegal gun based upon, you know, they be having him and Nibby talking these stories and stuff like that pertaining to Blacc Sam doing time and so on and so on. Maybe he do got a legal gun. I don't know. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying in general, like when you a civilian, you don't participate with street stuff at all. You know what I mean? And that's the big difference. So I just want to break that down. And again, well, not again, but I'm not trying to paint no picture to make it seem like Blacc Sam is being a snitch or anything like that. Because, you know, people be trying to put things in perspective. I'm just saying how, like, you know, maybe to him, he probably thought that he wasn't really, you know, doing anything that was possibly can be viewed in a different type of way. Probably never really thought about it that way. But, you know, let's continue though.
Now, let's keep in mind, Nipsey was killed in 2019. That's 5 years. The interview that Big Boy and Blacc Sam did, it kind of reignited a lot of the conspiracy theorists that kind of went away after Eric Holder was found guilty back in 2022. Now, let's keep in mind, Nipsey was killed in 2019. That's 5 years. 5 years. It's been 5 years. Blacc Sam gives the interview, and now there's just so many people reacting to this interview. In fact, we got 2 clips of this interview. Let's play clip number 1.
Throw it on, you know,
at some point, do you feel like any of this is worth it, or were you ready to throw it all away?
Oh, no, man. Not 100%. Like, crash out, broad daylight, whoever. And, you know, we start figuring out who the streets was saying it was, and you know, that's what the whole unit was like. Where's this nigga at? And you know, that was the mind space at that point. Yeah. Aside from just dealing with.
And you know, I just want to elaborate some more based upon what Blacc Sam just said in that clip right there. He said he was in the mindset of crashing out, you know, getting with anybody broad day, and they was, you know, looking to find out who was who. Now, that's not a civilian. You know, a civilian would be sitting back somewhere tending to just normal activities, dealing with the body, dealing with the family, you know, I mean, working with police. That's what civilians do. You know, they work with the police. You know what I mean? Blacc Sam wasn't doing that. So I'm just saying, point it out again, and to elaborate furthermore that, you know, he's not a civilian. He may not be a gangbanger, but he's not a civilian. He's definitely a street individual.
You know, the reality, you know, but it was go time, man. And, you know, they're going to make sure the kids is good, make sure his kids is good, and make sure we keep going.
Is it as random as what the public thought it was? Like, they've seen somebody, Eric, and talked, and...
I mean, you know, he already got convicted, so for me, without going into too many details, somebody come to the shop. They know we in the doorway. When Hustle pull up, we in the doorway. You gonna see me with a hoodie on, and I got a pistol on me. You gonna see one of the team members in the hoodie in the doorway with a pistol. That's protocol when Hustle pull up. So it's Sunday. It's busy in there. Why the in there didn't follow the protocol? I wasn't there. Why they didn't follow it? Maybe they was fucking around helping the customer, doing some fucking customer service. This is what I'm thinking. Trying to, you know, transition into some legitimate just selling clothes. But nobody was in the doorway. And from my understanding, old boy walked up with no shirt on first to check the scene because he know what's going on in that parking lot. And had a conversation. Probably seen nobody was in the doorways. Checked Hustle had on shorts. Checked everybody else. Left. They say came back with a red shirt on. Tiptoed through the alley and went right and started shooting. So to me, that's premeditated. Number one, there's no red shirts in the hood. You can't buy no red shirt. No liquor store sell no red shirt. Number two, when a nigga come through the alley with a red shirt, that's the throw off, or the Bloods did it, or the Inglewood families did it, or the BPS. That's the throw off, red shirt.
And me also, I don't think that he necessarily should have said anything pertaining to the Inglewood families or the BPSs. I think he should have just left it to the format of it being, you know, the Bloods. Because it's very widely understood that Bloods wear red and Crips wear blue. But when you start directing things, you know, that can, you know, I mean, you know, you don't really want to put no gang at no scene of nothing. You don't want to put no direct gang, no person, no individual. You don't want to be saying nothing. You know what I mean? Like, that's just the truth in the matter. Because people will take it a different way.
So for me, he felt he was supposed to do a job, or somebody sent him or whatever, and he was nervous. He was supposed to hit that alley with that red shirt immediately, but he didn't do that. He came in and he wanted to check the scene. He wanted to make sure he wasn't getting into a shootout. And that's my thoughts on it.
All right, man. There's a lot there.
Big boy got some big ass hands. Go ahead.
There's a lot there that Blacc Sam got the conspiracy theorist thinking. First and foremost, he is alluding that somebody sent Nipsey there. And With all due respect to Blacc Sam and the family, this case has been investigated like no other case can be investigated. We're talking about cell phone records, communications.
Oh, you know what? I also feel like, and it just came to my mind right now, but I can see why Alex Alonso is so invested in this like situation, because he have pretty much been on the cut and dry side of this whole situation. His situation is based upon just whatever took place between Nipsey and Eric. That's just pretty much what took place. The case is shut and closed. It is what it is. So he's not really on this whole, he's not on that side of somebody since Eric Holder. You know what I'm saying? He have even been like defending Big U against these certain type of accusations that people been throwing out there at him. So I can see why he is invested into the stance that Blacc Sam took. You know what I mean? And it just made me think about it right now when hearing Alex Alonso pretty much start going down this path of really, trying to just say, hey, that's not really the case. But at the end of the day, me, myself personally, I don't have no, what's what and what's what. I feel like, it seemed like dude and them just had a situation. They said he was on crystal meth and stuff. That probably played a big part in it. He probably just did what he did. But I definitely ain't trying to express or try to be saying that anything else is going on outside of what took place with the conviction. You know what I mean? I'm not running around saying nobody sent nobody or anything. And if somebody did send somebody, I don't have a clue about it at all.
Search warrants, family. Foremost, he is alluding that somebody sent Nipsey there. And with all due respect to Blacc Sam and the family, this case has been investigated like no other case can be investigated. We're talking about cell phone records, communications, search warrants, seizing cars, everything.
In connection to a crime that happened on camera. Go ahead.
Yeah, to a crime that was caught on camera from beginning to the end. So here's the thing. I'm going to disagree that anybody sent them for a variety of reasons. First and foremost, who knew that Nipsey was going to pull up at that shop in the first place? At that time, he pulled up at, let's say, 2:50 p.m. on that Sunday. So if you think someone sent them there, well then the list is short of how many people knew Nipsey was going to pull up there at 2:50. And from all the testimony and from all the evidence, very few people, if anyone, knew Nipsey was going to be there at 2:50 p.m. He pulls up when he wants to pull up. Now, I do believe maybe Rimpaw was in that parking lot waiting. It looks like Rimpaw, maybe Nipsey and Rimpaw had a rapport. So now you're saying, if you believe that he was set up, then you believe Cowboy's part of the setup, you believe Rimpaw's part of the setup.
And the boy sends it to send it there.
And there's no evidence whatsoever that there is a link.
Just to do a small sum up, what Alex Alonso was trying to say, really, well, he said what he meant, but just to give y'all like the sum up of what he's saying is that for somebody to know Nipsey was there at that very moment, that means somebody who was there with Nipsey had to pretty much, call someone or send a message or whatever the case may be and give, these people, give Eric Holder the heads up like, hey, Nipsey's here. That's what he's pretty much saying, which is, he's saying a true statement in certain cases. However, it could be a strong possibility, like, let's just say if somebody was sent. I'm not saying that's what happened, but it could have been somebody who just drove by and seen Nipsey hanging out. They could have seen his car and like, oh yeah, he did. You never know. So I'm just putting all the ways it could have possibly happened if that's what happened. You know what I mean? It's not just a cut and dry that somebody right there in that moment right there had to sell him out. Could have been anybody driving by, whatever the case may be, and then it could have been just, that's the case.
Between any of these people in the conspiracy to kill Nipsey. That's the first thing I'll say. Blacc Sam said, and he just glossed over this, they had a conversation, and then he just continued talking.
And you know what, I got to say this, too, on behalf of Blacc Sam, right? I just got to keep it a Benji since it's all spoken on anyway. It's all public. It's all on the internet. Blacc Sam said what he said, so I'm going to just speak on it. Blacc Sam definitely got the right to feel like something is fishy with this situation based upon him saying that it was a protocol in place on how they run the program. And the fact that that protocol was not followed at that moment when that took place with his brother, Nipsey Hussle, then he got every right to find that fishy. It sounds fishy to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that nobody had anything to do with anybody or whatever the case may be, but it definitely sounds fishy. And fishy can fall under any category if you know something that was foul play or just people being goofy and people not being militant and, you know, playing out here when there's not nothing to play about. So to me, it's definitely a question mark on there for me. Like, man, what are you doing? What's going on? Like Blacc Sam said, being customer service and all that type of stuff. Like, come on, man, security first, safety first, always. You know what I mean? So it just hurt me when I even be hearing that come. Like every time I hear that snippet from Blacc Sam, like it's a protocol in place and then people just didn't follow it that day. That's just like ill to me. You know what I'm saying? Like I just don't rock with that at all. But I'm on the outside looking in. I don't know how it runs, if it's true, false, whatever the case may be. I'm just speaking off of like if that's what actually took place. You know what I mean?
That conversation is crucial. That conversation is critical. That conversation changed the whole tone, the body language, the demeanor.
If he was not sent.
If he was not sent. That conversation led to Eric going to the car, loading an unloaded gun. So who's sent to do a homicide and the gun is unloaded? He's loading the gun in front of Berita Nicholson, who's the driver. And she's like, what the hell are you doing? And he's just sitting there loading up a semi-automatic weapon.
And I just have to keep it a Benji, right? Just because that lady said what she said, that don't necessarily make it true. You know what I mean? And police don't necessarily always understand certain terminology. And, you know, like when you got official terminology based upon people using terminology just because, you know, they're using it or whatever, or it sounds like it fits, it's different than actually being understanding. Like, yeah, he might have went in there and just, you know, who knows? You know, he might have just slapped the clip in the gun or something like that, or he might have just cocked the gun at the end of the day. But to the police, they probably, you know, oh, he was putting bullet after bullet after bullet into the magazine and then loaded it and then cocked it. So you get what I'm saying? It could be definitely a confusion between that. If she did sit there and say, yeah, he loaded the gun in front of me, who knows? You know what I'm saying? Or maybe he absolutely stood right there and loaded the gun, you know, on the scene. You know what I'm saying? Like he got bullets and a magazine and a gun, and then he just started loading up bullets and guns and stuff like that on the scene. I don't know. But if that's the case, like Alex Alonso said, that's crazy.
Who's sent to do a homicide and the gun is unloaded? He's loading the gun in front of Berita Nicholson, who's the driver. And she's like, what the hell are you doing? And he's just sitting there loading up a semi-automatic weapon. The fact that he's loading up a gun at the scene of the crime that is about to become a crime scene is very indicative of not being sent. But what you got to say?
After the argument or the initial?
It's after the argument. After the argument. He had one revolver on him the whole time in his front pocket. But the one that did all the damage was the semi-automatic weapon that he was loading.
He unloaded that after the first interaction.
Wait, say that again?
He loaded up after their initial.
Correct. He went to the car. Okay, he has the conversation with Nip. Then he goes to Master Burger to get the food. Then he jumps in the car with Bernita, and then they park in the alley to eat the food. And while he's there, he's loading up the semi-automatic weapon. Those are all facts. Let's deal with the facts.
I think you're forgetting it. When he got out the car, he put his foot on top of the car, and then did he?
What do you mean?
He got out the car in the alley and put his foot on top of the car.
The hood?
The top of the car, like the chili cheese fries, whatever he ordered.
Oh, it's food, not his foot.
Oh, yeah, the food, not the foot. You're confusing me.
Yeah, I thought you said foot.
My bad, excuse me. But he put his foot on top of the car and then proceeded to do what he did. So, like, that was just like,
It makes you think he was deciding at that time what I should do. It was impulsive.
Nah, it's just right on schedule with a person that's off.
I think when you look at him in the Master Burger after the conversation with Nip, you see Eric Holder
pacing,
contemplating and pacing, and you could tell there's something heavy on his mind. It's that conversation that Blacc Sam just kind of skipped over. They had a conversation, and that was it that Sam addressed regarding the conversation. But I think the conversation is bigger than what he's talking about. And then also the girl testified, Berita Nicholson, that the conversation was not friendly. This was not a friendly conversation, everybody. You know, Cowboy wants to say it was a conversation where there was no issue. It was a friendly conversation. Well, why is Berita Nicholson saying they're calling each other snitch and there was tension and it was unpleasant?
No,
You know, we just dropped a video pertaining to Cowboy saying that too. So if y'all do a couple scrolls back or whatever, y'all can catch that. Or it might be at the end of this video on the screen.
honestly, when I heard it back, when I heard her interrogation, it was more aggressive coming from Eric Holder than Nipsey. Just like Cowboy said, though, I ain't gonna cap, because the grand jury was kind of different, the statement, but different from when I heard her like talking, her audio.
Yeah, but unfortunately, they only released like a minute of that audio.
But she said that Nipsey was just more dismissive, like he don't want to talk to him, and he was more so like, well, ain't you a snitch? It was the aggression more so came from him.
Can I add?
Which I was like, and now like that's kind of different from what I thought I heard like maybe whatever amount of years ago. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because initially it was Nipsey was calling him a snitch.
Right,
And
and
it
now
turns out they were both calling each other snitch. But what was you gonna say,
I
Spider?
just want to add that initially from the streets, direct communication. Rest in peace to the homie neighborhood Nip the Crip. But I heard more than just asking about it. I heard he kind of went big and told everybody else, like in the store, his money ain't no good over here till he straightened his shit out, and kind of like went big on the boy.
No, I think you're absolutely right, Spider. Because when you look at if you zoom in,
Now, again, like, I don't know what's fact and what's not. However, what Spider Loc just said, what he kind of heard, that goes opposite of what Cowboy said pertaining to it just being like, yo, hey, man, this is what's going on. You know, like a calmly heads up. What Spider Loc just said is definitely like, you know, like he said, you know, that was explosive. That was big. He put that, broadcasted it. You know, you pretty much like, you like banned the person. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you definitely like, you know, went there on them. And I'm not saying that's what Nipsey did. But that type of situation can definitely cause for somebody to feel certain type of ways.
in your editing software, there's a lot of body language from Nipsey, arms moving, a lot of point is aggression. Mm-hmm. And I could tell you, I've had an aggressive conversation with Nip. I've been there with Nip before, and I was like, I seen that side.
Me too.
Okay, you too. Yes. And I've seen that side after 2011.
I gained the respect for him when he did it because he assumed that he could get away with it when I didn't know if he knew he could, and we kind of bonded after we had that bump of heads that time. I respected it. Rest in peace, Puto. Rest in peace, Nipsey. Goddamn.
See, I got caught up in the middle of the situation between him and Big U in 2011 because prior to that situation, I was friends with both of them. But after 2011, you had to pick a side.
So at 2019, from your personal...
And, you know, I'm going to say this too, right? Because, you know, it's always a speculation from based upon what Big U be saying. Big U pretty much be making a stance on, like, you know, him and Nipsey don't have no real problem that was too deep. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it was some little, you know, small disagreements or whatever the case may be, but he always make it seem like it was just, it is what it is. And it was just, you know, just a situation, a here and there type of thing, and then, you know, moving forward. But when you put it in the perspective of what Alex Alonso just said, he makes it like, you know, a situation has to be very serious for people to feel like they have to separate or segregate or pick a side, I should say. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying what's true and what's false, but I'm just opinionating based upon what's said. You know what I mean? Big U always make it seem like, you know, it was just like, you know, a situation that it is what it was, a disagreement. You know, it was a small moment in a hiccup. But if, you know, when you got to pick a side in a situation, it make it seem like, dang, they was having a big problem, you know? And I'm just highlighting that because I don't think we ever get anybody who was really like close to that time, close to that situation around that time that really just, you know, speak so freely, you know, about, and they're, you know, close to the situation. So I feel like in so many ways, that was kind of like a small exclusive coming from Alex Alonso.
Between him and Big U in 2011, because prior to that situation, I was friends with both of them. But after 2011, you had to pick a side.
So at 2019, from your personal experience, had they graduated beyond that?
I believe they mended all issues. Now if you think Big U has something to do with it, 2011 was 8 years prior to this. So you think Big U was holding a grudge for 8?
I'm gonna say what Big U said in one of them clips, man. You know, he was definitely on that. I think on that boat, and I think that was the rap dudes video. Big U was there, and it was also like some other recent videos surfacing around where I guess Big U and them was doing a award or something like that. I think everybody was in suits. So I will say that much, like, Rap Dudes was one of the last videos put out by Nipsey. Big U was in it. Then you had some recent pictures and stuff between Nipsey and Big U. And again, that's not me trying to say I'm picking a side or, I'm not driving a verdict for your opinion any direction. I'm just pretty much just pointing out facts in the matter. You know what I'm saying?
8 years to do, as Munchie would say, his big one. 8 years later, but nah. You guys are leaving out him on the yacht with Nipsey.
In New York.
In New York with Nipsey. Giving Nipsey an award, and Nipsey's there like smiling as big as you can smile, cheesing, getting an award. Everybody leaves all of this stuff out. Right.
From a personal perspective, when Nipsey died, I and Nipsey had some very intense conversations regarding the YG and Big Bootaroo from Treetop. And when Nipsey passed, I talked to Big U very shortly thereafter, and I was surprised to find out Big U knew everything that me and Nipsey had been talking about in that recent time. So I'm aware that Nipsey and Big U was having an amicable conversation and dialogue, and Nipsey was sharing things with him that he was dealing with in politics, because there was no other way for Big U to be aware of that.
And I think it's completely natural and normal in these environments that we grow up in where bros are going to clash. And they clashed in 2011. There's no doubt about it. In 2011, they clashed. But what does that got to do with what happened with Eric Holder in 2019, 8 years later?
But the only thing I missed that was key, that I just heard right now that I missed when I was listening to the Big Boy interview, he said he was, he alluded to Eric Holder being nervous, and that's why he came the first time with his shirt off. Then he came with the red shirt on. And what he did throughout with the alley and the red shirt, that's what he's supposed to do from the gate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I didn't really catch that the first time. You know what I'm saying?
But the Marathon store and the Slauson Swap Meet and a lot of surrounding venues or places sell red shirts. So much as I wanted to just accept.
But he was saying liquor stores. Liquor stores.
He did.
He said liquor stores.
I think he did say liquor store.
The point still is
he said around here. Don't know stores, not even Inglewood, Compton. No liquor stores they only sell white or black.
The Marathon store itself sells red shirts.
Yeah, they do.
Not plain red shirts.
It's not that, bro.
I'm saying I'm being verbatim what he
didn't.
said.
He didn't say plain. So you adding words.
Okay, but
he said don't know liquor stores around here.
Okay, but what's more
red shirts?
What's more
liquor
important,
stores, bro?
What's more important? What point was Blacc Sam trying to make by saying that?
He just saying somebody sent them, but everybody alluding that if he's saying that somebody sent them, it had to be Big U, because Big U the biggest name through there, and they know they had differences over the years. Rolling 60s is one of the deepest hoods in LA County. He could have been alluding to anybody else. It didn't have to just be Big U.
Yeah.
And mind you, Blacc Sam didn't say no names, but people put words in his mouth. You know what I mean?
And if he gonna be that bold, it seemed like, he would at this point, if he wanted to, speak directly about who he chose to speak about.
Cause it ain't no statutes of limitation. That's telling, bro.
If that's the case, he still is insinuating.
He alluding.
Yeah.
He
could have just said what he originally said. I don't want to talk too much about it, and then just ask Big Boy what's the next question. But he gave his little theory hypothesis that was alluding to somebody from the set sent him that had a grudge with him, and everyone now on the internet is pointing to one guy.
Okay, like you
right?
said, from the set though. Why when he made when he said what he said, why do everybody assume that he talking about Big U? Because they had the history they had over the years. Because, like I said, rolling 60s from Western, damn near to fucking La Cienega.
No, I get what Munchie B is saying. Like, he's just saying that, this is just people that I think it's more of an outside looking in situation for most people opinionating about it or throwing things at Big U. I don't know. But he's just saying that, it's a lot of people from around there and you can't just pinpoint one person. Especially when Blacc Sam didn't put no name on nobody. You know what I mean? I don't know. Let's continue.
I mean, La Brea. You think it couldn't have been nobody else that had an issue with him or sent that man other than Big U? Why they assuming him?
Well, they did. Thanks to Blacc Sam, he did mention DJ Khaled. There are scenarios that everybody are expounding on that include DJ Khaled. So maybe that's kind of leading people to think that both conversations are connected.
No, Big Sam brung up the Big U situation, but you have J Cats, like we ain't gotta name him, and he placed himself being one of the dudes that ran DJ Khaled off. But guess what? When Blacc Sam said what he said, it went without incident. Everything went good. So that's what I'm saying. Like the internet.
No, see what Spider Loke is saying, what Spider Loke is pointing out is that, you know, you got people on the internet saying that it was a situation between, you know, Big U, DJ Khaled, and Nipsey. Then when you get Blacc Sam to pretty much highlight, like, yeah, it was some type of situation pertaining to DJ Khaled over there, then people just gonna assume that, oh, what he's saying fits this narrative pertaining to this individual, you know, which is Big U. But that don't necessarily mean that this is all facts, you know what I mean? Spider Loke is just saying that what Blacc Sam said kind of go hand in hand with these stories that people is putting out there. Not saying what's true or what's fact.
Do what it do, man. People, you know what I'm saying? We just got people in the right places, the sections and all that shit in real time. They know what time it is, but I don't believe Big U had anything to do with anything. I don't even think he was sent. If so, that was very messy. I think he got mental health problems, drug problems, and he did what he did off of impulse and he being emotional.
And he's still not speaking. At this point, somebody that was sent that did what he did would have broke by now, I believe, and told everything.
Yeah. I think Munchie is 100% correct. The way you just described it. Mm-hmm. He got emotional. He's probably... Hey, we learned a lot about his mental state during sentencing. Unfortunately, it didn't come up during trial. But during sentencing, man, we learned about electroshock treatments, all these pills he was taking since he was young.
What about the drugs mixed with the mental state?
And that's unpredictable what you're going to get out of that.
I want to mention a couple more things. Blacc Sam in that clip said that the red shirt was supposed to be the throw-off, but it can't be a throw-off when you already showed yourself in front of everybody. Like, he already got out the car, shook everyone's hand, had a conversation, so you can't throw anyone off.
I think he was saying the fact that he had the red shirt on deck and you can't get in the area, that was his initial plot for a throw-off.
Oh, like he already had it.
Yes, that's what's his point.
Okay.
He was like, he came over there with these intentions with a red shirt. You can't get one in the area. He only came without it at first to scope out to make sure he wasn't getting in the shootout.
And he said initially he came here and approached just to check it out because he was nervous in the first place.
Well, the body language of Eric Holden when he got out the car does not show a nervous person. He was greeting everybody. He shook Rimpaw's hand, he shook Nipsey's hand, and he shook Cowboy's hand. And actually, I think he didn't shake Nipsey's hand when he left because Nipsey was engaged in a conversation with Cousin Carrie, so there was a little bit of a distance. But it seemed like a regular pull-up. Hey, with the homies. But there was reference to Nipsey saying, "Oh, there goes Shitty. What is he doing here?" You know, it was already like, bro ain't supposed to be here. You know, how is this gonna play out? You know, how is this gonna go?
I heard that phrase.
Yeah.
Now, if that did happen, that would be a lot of, you know, that mean that Cowboy was definitely telling a lie in that video we dropped. You know, when Cowboy was talking about, like, if Nip had an issue or was having any type of issue, we would have escorted somebody out. If that took place, then Cowboy, you didn't attempt to try to walk nobody out, and you definitely lightened up the situation and act like nothing took place. If that's what happened. If Nip was acting like that and you didn't insert yourself, then you know you got to take that responsibility on that. If that's what happened.
So if he was sent, like you said, bro, they would have drove by.
Who said? Because none of us think that.
No.
Oh, okay. You talking third person?
He perhaps wasn't sent, like you said, because if he was, you know, me and you, we know the protocol, bro. You drive by and see exactly what you're going to get. There's no need to come with the shirt, order the fries, and all that. Nobody sees you. You drive by, you see it. You go put your red shirt on, tiptoe up from the Slauson side. Don't come from that side. Come from that side, get your man to be ducked off.
Now let me ask you: does this sound like the activity of a guy that was sent to go do something? Go in the store, order some chili cheese fries. then not have enough money, go to the car and ask Bernita for a couple more dollars so I can go buy a drink.
And let the broad come out, ask for a picture with me.
And then, yeah.
But we also got to highlight this, right? That if, and again, I'm not saying that somebody sent him, but we got to point out certain things just because we covering the topic anyway. But, you know, he could have been sent by whoever. If he was sent by somebody, we just said that, you know, everybody's saying that his mind wasn't there and he was on drugs. So if he was sent somewhere to do something, he is the type of person to where he can honestly just do everything wrong based upon what he's supposed to do. You know, and then you do have crash out dummies. You know, if a person sent him, they could have just like, you know, he's a crash out dummy. He's this, that, and the third, and didn't even care if he was going to get away with it or not because he's that type of individual. But I just had to highlight that since it's like, you know, we can't move the goalposts to call a person, you know, out of his mind and then turn around and act like they would make a extreme situation. They would do that in the most intelligent way possible. Because like I keep saying, dude definitely did everything he can do up there to make sure it was impossible for him to get away with that crime.
Well, he didn't have any control over that.
Yeah, no. If you driving her, if she driving you to go,
you tell her to stay in the car. Yeah.
no, if you driving her to come put us on work and go accomplish something, why would this female hop out and take a
Yeah, that's a
picture
good
with
point. That's a good point.
And you know what, Munchie B definitely got a point right there. It's like, and they just go back to sum it up like I said, dude just did everything he can do to get caught at the end of the day. You shouldn't even bring her anyway if you was sent there. You know what I mean? For one. Then number two, you know, I mean, but people don't be thinking all the time. People think they smart. I'm not saying that he was sent, and I'm not saying he wasn't. I ain't driving no verdict nowhere. I'm just constantly just giving different point of views on how people can view it and say whatever the case may be pertaining to each little, you know, thing being said in this video.
If you got someone driving you to go do some dirt, and that's the plan, she never gets out the car.
Hell
She's
no.
getting out the car to take a picture with Nick.
Keep
That's
it running.
a killer under pressure, contemplating in real time. It probably would have something that could have happened that made him change his mind. But whatever that was didn't happen.
The conversation, man. I think he'd be strapped up like that. Based on me being a across the street, down the street rival, I believe he'd be strapped up like that
Every time you go through there.
often.
Yeah, and I don't think it's unusual for this girl, Berita Nicholson, who's only dated him for a month, to see him with guns. She testified that every time she was with Eric, he had guns. She said when he went to his apartment with his uncle, they had guns. So in a 1 month period of dealing with Eric, guns was normal.
Was there ever any confirmation that she was a Hoover affiliate or anything?
Now, Munch and I talked about this the other day.
We talked about that, right? We talked about right. And I'm standing on it.
Not standing on it. The girl that was a Hoover and Berita Nicholson
Hold on, you doing the Munchie and Spider Low?
are two different women.
Hold on, Alex B. Alex Lowe, you doing the Munchie and Spider Low? Hold on.
3-8, 8-3.
Now, the girl they sent from Hoover, not her. She had history with this particular Rolling 60. I ain't gonna say her hood name, but she had history with this particular Rolling 60, and that's where it get intertwined at.
Okay, but that's not the question Spider asked. Spider asked.
No. I just threw my little 9s and 2s in there.
I just want to know if did she ever confirmed having
No.
affiliation?
No, I want to make that clear that Berita Nicholson, the girl who was dating Eric Holder for that month, has no gang ties whatsoever.
No.
She's a square. She worked as I don't want to say a nurse.
A Lyft driver. She did some probably some in-home care type.
She did some in-home care type stuff. She was Lyft drive. She met him Lyft driving.
Yeah.
And they both lived in Long Beach.
So good girls love bad boys. Y'all got to figure it out, good girls.
And I think she was a girl that was desperate for some male attention.
That's what it is. It ain't the good. But
She I don't want to say.
Yeah, kick back.
She was just a young lady that was desperate for male attention. Eric Holder shot his shot from the back of that Lyft.
They had sex a few times.
And they exchanged information, and they had a 1 month relationship. All right, there's no other history between this girl and Eric Holder.
That's deep.
And let's see, the last thing I want to say about that last clip is that I don't know how Blacc Sam can come to the conclusion that he was supposed to hit that alley from the jump and shoot Nipsey. Like that, he believes his plan was to do that from the beginning. There's no, if you just watch it play out, you can tell that he just can't. He decided to do this as he was there.
Like I said, I look at it like a brother grieving, and he want to know why. He just ain't go. You know what I'm saying?
I'm sure he's thought about this probably more than all of us.
But he just not thinking he logically, bro. I never lost a sibling. You know what I'm saying? So he thinking like, nah, this ain't. You know what I'm saying? He can't be.
He's aware of all the current tensions, and when something that unexpected happens,
But the current.
it's natural for you to just like, damn, we was into it all in. It might be totally unconnected, but I think you naturally start when something that unexpected happens and you have things that could have possibly brought about that type of result in play. It's just hard for him to separate the two.
But as far as this internet shit, I answered it maybe last year June doing a podcasting thing, and I'm starting to know you can't give everybody attention because you got people like Loose Cannon that will derail you, and he got a cold imagination, attention seeker, and he got mental health problems. So like you can't listen to people like that. And we talking about real life situations. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. All right. Before we play the second and last clip, I just think that undermining the conversation that Nips and Eric had is going to cause you to lose why what happened. Cowboy does that. Doesn't really want to talk about the conversation that Eric and Nipsey had, and Blacc Sam doesn't even want to address that conversation. I think to a certain degree, it tarnishes Nipsey's legacy to a certain extent because as a multimillionaire, as a top rapper, as this mogul, you out there politicking some snitch stuff that's really at the end of the day not your lane.
And you know, it's crazy that Alex Alonso said that because in one of the videos that we put out recently pertaining to Cowboy, you know, in the video is titled "Too Comfortable, Cowboy Speaks Nipsey Hussle Being Comfortable," right? And I just felt like that ain't Nipsey position, you know what I'm saying? Like, or maybe it was one of the other videos I dropped pertaining to Cowboy, but they back to back, whatever. But I said that, like, I didn't really feel like that's the type of space that Nipsey was in. I feel like that was, like, beneath him. And I want y'all to let me know in the comments, like, if that conversation did happen, right? Why do y'all feel like certain people do not want to be honest about that conversation happening? Y'all let me know y'all theories on that in the comments on why y'all feel like if that conversation did happen, why certain people are, you know, acting like it didn't happen.
And Cowboy knows that.
I don't think it tarnishes reputation. I mean, it's legacy. It's a question mark, and it's left to everybody. Whatever you want to go with, you know what I'm saying? Everybody got their own conclusion they go draw. The only person really knows is Rand Paul. If Rand Paul's still around, and Rand Paul talked to Big Sam. Blacc Sam. Believe it.
Here's how it tarnishes it. We talked about this before with T.I. and other people. What percent of the people care about who snitched on who?
Very few.
So what percent of the fans would be very disappointed that you were having a snitch conversation?
No, some people might be fueled by
large, yeah.
No, they be fueled by that. Like, oh, Nipsey a real when he pressed this line.
That's the small
what the point
group
he was trying to make.
Yeah, that's the minority.
Yeah, Munchie got a point, but Alex and Spider got a point. Like, it's really minor. You know what I'm saying? Like, in the streets, like, you know, very, you know, in people that hold themselves to high standards in the streets, they would definitely be like, man, you know, Nip was a real one and all that, like what Munchie said. However, that's still just a minor group of individuals. You know what I'm saying? You got a whole broad group of individuals just all around the world from everywhere. They gonna really look at it like, wow. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, in so many ways, they will say that you did that to yourself.
Most of the people do not care who's snitching on who.
How do we know that's the minority, though?
What?
Now, how do we know that's the minority?
Really, is always
Man, like I always be saying, I just got off the panel earlier today with Flacco, Money and them, Marathon Kev and them. Shout out to them. And I was breaking that down for them on the example tip. Like, people know that because they got 50-50 yards. You know, if it wasn't more dishonorable people on the streets than honorable, then the 50-50 yards wouldn't even exist. It's more people that have broke the code sitting around and being on them yards than it is that have stick to the code. You know what I'm saying? And also look at the success with rappers. You know, look at Gunna, look at, you know, other people that been telling and they succeeding very well. So it shows just in the facts that it's more people who don't care about a person snitching as opposed of a person directly, as opposed to people disliking people for snitching.
It's rare, bro.
That's what we going off of?
I mean, what else? Morals over money. Money usually is more popular. You know you're taking a rare approach when you say morals over money.
You said morals over money. You said the opposite.
That's the rare. That's the real. Real is rare.
Yeah.
The average person is going to pick monies over morals.
Yeah. So all right. So let's go to the second clip.
And Spider Low got a point right there for sure.
Not saying nothing crazy. You're gonna come, you're gonna tuck your tail and be humble. And if not, you're getting beat up on the spot. And we done did it a million times. Hustle done did it a million times. So the fact that he left tell me everything I need to know. It was no argument. You know, it was no sense of threat. Because with that come, like, hey, be on deck. It was none of that. It was just, you know, to me it was, let me come through, let me see what's going on, and then let me, you know, in this broad daylight, man, and it's, you know, it's a lot of unanswered questions, man.
You don't believe he had any dialogue with Nip that day, or did anybody say he said something?
Yeah, no, they had dialogue, but it was in the mix of him coming up, talking to bro, and, you know, whatever transpired, it wasn't an aggressive dialogue. It was just maybe small talk, and then maybe people saying Nip brought something up to him. Okay, he may have, but it wasn't. To me, that don't. Whatever the dialogue was, that didn't justify, or that didn't turn into that. You know what I'm saying? He came there for a reason, and Mag got the reverses. I mean, he got the charges reversed because Hustle asked him something about it and humbled him real quick. But
See,
I think it's gonna come to the light.
Alrighty. So
Come on, bro. That say a lot.
yeah, let me go through.
He said a little too much right there.
Yeah, let me go through the main
Hold
points
on.
of that. But,
That's not-
It's gonna come to the light.
alrighty. So
Come on, bro. That say a lot.
yeah, let me go through.
He said a little too much right there.
Yeah, let me go through the main
Hold
points
on.
of that. But,
That's not saying too much.
okay, hold on. Hold that thought. Hold that thought. I want to go through the main points of what he
Charges
just said.
reversed.
One thing he says is there was no argument. That's untrue. He said that any dialogue, it wasn't aggressive. That's untrue. And let me just remind everybody, I was at the trial, and I heard all 15, 20 witnesses that came to court. Nip brought something up. You see how he downplayed that? No, Nip brought something up that was very crucial. The dialogue, whatever the dialogue was, Blacc Sam says, it doesn't justify what Eric did. I agree, but the streets don't always agree with that.
But then he added,
And then wait, the last point, and then he says he came there for a reason, and
he said he probably
the evidence doesn't
came
support
for a
that.
reason. And when he was asked what he asked, he said maybe the charges was reversed, meaning
Yeah.
he's assuming Eric came there to ask Nipsey about a similar situation of himself.
Hey, they were. What I didn't understand, even while I'm listening to the witnesses, was who was really calling who a snitch.
That's what he just made.
Hold on, but he said the charges was reversed.
Yeah, that's what I'm surprised to hear.
But see, no one knows that because Cowboy and Rimpaw are the only two people that could really tell us what was in that conversation. And we already know Cowboy doesn't want to deal with that conversation.
Rampaw
Rampaw?
ain't gonna talk. Yeah, Rampaw was there for the whole
Yeah,
conversation.
I just said that. Didn't I say that?
He said
Rimpaw,
Cowboy.
He said Rampaw and
Rimpaw and Cowboy were there
Okay,
for
my
the
bad.
entire conversation.
Okay.
Now the girl, Bernita, she jumped out the car and heard about a minute and a half of the 4-minute conversation. So about 2.5 minutes she wasn't even there for. So even Blacc Sam don't even know what that conversation is, unless unless he's going by Cowboy.
Like Spider pointed out, keyword, the charges was reversed. What do that mean?
He shocked me with that.
It sounds like Ned might have brung up some snitch allegations to Shitty, and then Shitty reversed it.
Yes.
Said, ain't you a snitch?
See, the girl confused me because Berita Nicholson testified that Eric was calling Nip a snitch.
That's
And
what
Blacc
she came.
Sam is saying Nip flipped it on him. You bringing this up to me. Now I'm finna ask you something.
Hey, so he's giving us something that we
Yes.
he's helping us understand Berita Nicholson's testimony now.
Right.